criminals. So they want a big, healthy crime syndicate to scare the sucker public into submitting to them and have a big, healthy criminal system that they can suck off of as well. So they suck off the criminals and they suck off the slaves. The Second Amendment, adopted in 1791 as part of the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment reads in its entirety, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free country and the right of the people to keep bear arms shall not be infringed. In Heller, the High Court struck down the Washington 32-year-old gun law, which barred most residents of the city from owning handguns and required that all legal firearms be kept unloaded and either disassembled or under trigger lock. 6 residents had challenged the law, saying they wanted firearms available in their homes for self-defense. Yeah, people that got raped and robbed. So there you go. I told you what the Supreme Court ruling would do. I read it. And it says you got a right to the Second Amendment. And then they say we're going to define what Second Amendment means. Second Amendment means we come and you hand your guns over. Period. You have a right to turn your guns over. Because it says we have a right to ban whatever we want. Oh, yeah, you got a right, but we got a right to ban it. That's just like the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Articles 1 through 30. Or is it 31? And Article 29 and 30 state, all these great rights we just said you have that we say we give you, UN doesn't give you anything. You got to take it. As a free person, your red blood and your guts gives you freedom. They say in there, in that piece of legislation that Obama's got introduced, that they're going to ban most of the guns. So this is happening. This is going on. And in the articles of the UN Charter of Declaration of Human Rights 29 and 30, it says all these rights don't count if we say they don't. So it's no rights at all.
Babies in the Second Great War.
We are back live. Thank you for joining us.
Never have to watch
The rest of the hour before Kinky Friedman joins us in studio.
I mean, you should never have to bury your
I'm going to go over part 2 of the Cybersecurity Act, Cashless Society, global surveillance, tracking, tracing, straitjacket system. What you need to understand is, recapping part 1 and getting into part 2, is that everything is globally standardized through the OECD, the Organization of Economic Cooperative Development, through the IMF, through the World Bank, through treaties, through NATO. And of these dozens and dozens of groups, there's less than 50 big, powerful global groups, they're all chaired by less than 100 people. And they all interlock on the different boards. You know, the heads of the Bilderberg Group will be some of the head people on the Trilateral Commission and the head people on the CFR and the head people on the Club of Rome and the head people at the RAND Corporation, who are also the head people at the Federal Reserve, who are the head people at the Bank of England, who are the head people at the United Nations, who are at the head people of the OECD, who are the head people of the IMF, at the head people of the World Bank, at the head people of IBM, at the head people of GM, or the head people at Microsoft and Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, you go to these meetings, you cover these meetings, you track these meetings, Davos and others. It's the same crew, the same people, and they want the same thing, eugenics. Now, before I get into the cashless grid, remember this story from a week or two ago, and ABC News reported it first and said, yes, secret meeting of the world elite to carry out eugenics. But they said it's a good thing. Billionaire club and bid to curb overpopulation through a world government. And it has to be secret, they say, for your own good. And it's Bill Gates, it's David Rockefeller, it's Warren Buffett, it's Michael Bloomberg, it's Oprah Winfrey, Ted Turner, all the usual suspects. And they met at Rockefeller University president's private home, Paul Nurse. And listen, anytime you cover these, anytime they have these meetings, that's all they talk about. How do we get world government and world taxes? And so how do we stage pandemics to get a control grid in? It's sad we got to kill everybody, but how do we do it? You know, Bill Joy of Sun Microsystems. I always plug key things that are well known. There's thousands of things we could plug. April issue 2000 of Wired Magazine, Why the Future Doesn't Need Us. And he said, I went to a top tech private conference with 200 top tech leaders, sworn to secrecy, so I can't say the names. This is the guy worth $4 billion at that time. owns one of the biggest infrastructure companies out there for IT, Sun Microsystems. And he says, it was very upsetting. It was how, do we kill everybody or do we just cull most of the people and then let them be entertained by the new technocracy? And the elite's leaning towards killing everybody. And then he goes on to quote Theodore Kaczynski. Why did Kaczynski, this professor, this doctor, admitted LA Times reports CIA operative, he quits, runs to the bush, and starts bombing people for a decade, bombing key people over key technocracies. I'm not defending what he did, but that's a real environmentalist. Kaczynski said, my God, they're planning to create a total grid, create a new species of humanoids. This is what the elites say they're doing, merging with cybernetics and getting rid of most of us. He said, I gotta go kill these people. I mean, I can go down the line. And then you've got all the other transhumanists, and I don't mean the general transhumanists. They always email me and go, how dare you say we're bad? I'm blind and I want to have sight. You're not really a transhumanist. Julian Huxley, the brother of Aldous Huxley, the head of the United Nations UNESCO department, first general of it, secretary general of it, said that eugenics got a bad name with Hitler going too far too quickly. We're going to call it transhumanism. The issue is Ray Kurzweil and all them say the same crap, how most of us are about to be wiped out. We're going to break all this down when we get back and get into the control grid.